Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good afternoon, if you prefer. My name is Damon Heitman, and I have the privilege of serving as the chaplain to Hastings College. And I also have the privilege this day to offer an invocation. Before I do that, if you would like to remove your caps, now would certainly be a good time to do so. And if you are so inclined, then I would invite you to join with me in a moment of prayer. Gracious and loving God, we're here and we're ready. We've even put on our goofiest outfits to prove it. This is us, God. This is what we do to come together and to say that we are ready. We're ready to work. We're ready to celebrate. We're ready to support and teach and guide and challenge and nurture. We are ready to get about the true business of this place, to throw our talents, our passions, our noblest selves together to form and shape the hearts and minds of future generations, to usher them forward to lives of service and leadership, lives of compassion and justice, lives of heart and mind. And at the outset of a new presidency, we ask that you be here as well, that you be ready to work as well. I don't know if you have the outfit to wear. You put it on and let your spirit be known. Let your peace be made manifest. Let the truth of your love become ever more fully a reality classrooms and our halls, in our fields and rehearsals, in our offices and grounds. We gather, O God, this day and ask your blessing, not only for one particular office, not only for one particular person, but for an entire community, that we may commit ourselves once more as a collective to the work you gave our ancestors 135 years ago, to educate, to challenge, to nurture, to journey on by stages with one another into an unknowable future. Be with us now, O God, as you have always been. Amen.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the inauguration ceremony of the 17th president of Hastings College. I'd like to welcome my fellow faculty, the staff, our students, alumni, friends, members of the Board of Trustees, and guests. Welcome Dr. Travis Feezell and his family, Carol, his children, Jackson, Delaney, Colby, and Cooper, and a special welcome to Drs. Randy and Barb Feezell. As Travis notes in his remarks in the program today, Barb is a former professor of teacher education here at Hastings College. Welcome home. Colleagues on campus describe her as a strategic thinker, able to dream and see this dream through to its fruition. She has a student-first focus and the ability to see the potential in students who might not be so polished and help mold them into excellent adults. She is caring, creative, and kind. Excellence and kindness must be part of the DNA, as we see these same traits in Travis. On behalf of the faculty, we are thrilled to officially welcome you to our campus home. I want to share a quotation from Abigail Adams. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought with ardor and intended to with diligence. It is this passion and commitment to learning that sets our graduates apart. It is the understanding that education is not a four-year plan, but a lifelong pursuit that makes an honor to be a part of this faculty. It is the understanding that students are humans. It is an understanding that a successful graduate is capable of so much more than their degree, which keeps our staff and our campus family working tirelessly for the betterment of the student body and the college. Here at Hastings College, the faculty have a deep commitment to ensuring students leave curious about the world they are entering, creative in their solutions, and caring in their understanding. We strive to foster students into becoming the kind of graduate we want to invite back. We are committed to the connections we forge with these students, lasting far beyond their time on campus. Faculty at Hastings College work towards creating exceptional learning opportunities for our students, going beyond our classrooms to build these experiences, and in my last 10 years on campus, It has been a joy to see the amazing work of the faculty and students throughout the departments and disciplines. As a campus community, we look forward to collaborating in pursuit of excellence and the realization of our goals. Dr. Feezell, I hope in the time that you've already spent with us on campus, you have felt the same deep affection we all have for Hastings College, and we look forward to working with you for many years to come. Now, if you would all please stand and join in singing our hymn.
Good afternoon, Hastings College. My name is Delaney Feezell. Some of you might recognize me from class or have seen me passing around campus, or some of you might not know me at all. Basically, all you have to know is I'm the very best daughter of Travis Feezell. I wanted to start this introduction by being completely honest with all of you. I really hate public speaking. I really do. But when my dad asked me to do this introduction for him, I kind of freaked out. I was really hesitant. But then I realized that I was being really selfish because no one deserves to be a president more than that guy. I'm just shy of 20 years old, and I've lived in 6 states now. That's way too many, in my opinion. That's way too much moving, and way too many goodbyes, and way too much being the new kid at school. And it's all because of that guy. Because he had the audacity to follow a dream. And I didn't understand it then, but I really do understand it now. So thanks, Dad. So ever since I got here to Hastings, people have been asking me the same exact question over and over and over again, and I hope to answer it today. They asked me why I came to Hastings College. And And it's kind of a hard question to answer. So ever since I was a kid, like I said, I've been moving around and I really hated it. And last year as a freshman, I got to choose finally where I wanted to go. So I chose to go to Ashland, Virginia, to Randolph-Macon College. I decided to be far away from my family, to be independent, and it was a great experience, and I really wouldn't change it for the world, but I realized something was missing, and I realized I spent a lot of my time longing to be somewhere where I wasn't, and that's no way to spend 4 years. So when my dad told me this great news that he got the presidency, I was, first of all, overjoyed for him. But the thought of transferring kept creeping into my mind. But I have always been prideful, and I once proclaimed, when I was 16, that I would never, ever go to the school where my dad was employed, let alone the president of. So here I am, a Hastings College student and the president's daughter. But to be honest, I don't think I would have transferred just anywhere. I think Hastings is different. And to be honest, I'm not really new to Hastings. My grandparents used to live just over on California Street. So we would come and we would visit in the summers, and I would play in Hartwell Park. So this is all vaguely familiar to me and new at the same time, which is a really weird feeling. Also, Hastings has been so welcoming to my family and I think we're all very thankful for that. Hastings is a community and a family, and that's really obvious when you step onto campus. And being a Bronco is a badge of honor. So what I want to leave you with is that I know it can be scary passing on leadership to someone who's new and who's an outsider of the community that I'm sure a lot of you have been a part of for a really long time, and you care about so much, it's obvious. But I hope that you can trust my dad to lead you as I've trusted him, and you choose him to lead you as I've chosen him, because it's made all the difference. So, thank you.
Give me 1 second here. Thank you so much, Delaney. That was beautiful. Thank you all so much for having me here today. I'm Jackson Feezell. Well, you're probably seen my sister on campus or my brothers out playing basketball or beating on each other. I'm that weird older Feezell sibling who comes out of the woodwork for these sorts of occasions. I'm going to have something of a different perspective than my sister, as my experience with this town and this school are pretty limited to a few hazy memories of visits as a child when my grandparents lived here. However, I hope that you find what I have to say no less compelling, although if you really want to be entertained by a Feezell, I highly suggest you talk to my brother Cooper. While my family is being so warmly welcomed into the Hastings community, I've recently started a new life for myself as a PhD student in anthropology at SUNY Binghamton in New York. Ultimately, I want to go on to be a professor at a small liberal arts college, perhaps somewhere like Hastings. This ambition was born out of my experiences at my own small liberal arts alma mater, Emory and Henry College. For all its quirks and eccentricities, I couldn't imagine a better place to become not just a better scholar, but a better person. It's easy to tell that Hastings is a similar sort of transformative environment. I firmly believe that these are the sorts of environments where true education happens. By true education, I don't simply mean taking tests and writing papers in order to graduate and get a job. I mean a moral education, one that makes one a better person. No one understands the nature of this sort of education better than my dad. My dad is many things. He's an expert dish stacker. He's a mediocre cribbage player. And as Ralphie from A Christmas Story once said, my dad works in profanity the way other artists work in oil or clay. My dad is many weird, quirky, and sometimes contradictory things. But what I want to highlight today are his qualities as an educator. Obviously, my father is an incredible teacher in the traditional sense. But as anyone who has received a good liberal arts education knows, education extends beyond the classroom. My dad has a nearly 25-year career throughout higher education, and while his CV speaks for itself, I will admit that as a child it was sometimes hard for me to understand, like Delaney, why my family moved so much. As an adolescent, the experience of starting over at a new school every few years was oftentimes an uncomfortable one. But now that I've grown over, I would do it all over again, exactly the same, because I understand what my dad was doing the whole time. I understand that what makes him such an amazing role model for his peers and his students and his kids. And what is always driving my dad to make a difference in people's lives is a simple but intangible quality: courage. It is no secret that I come from a family of courageous people. My grandparents, who are in the audience today, had the courage to have my dad when they were only teenagers, and not only go on to become successful academics, but raise my dad and his siblings to be the outstanding individuals they are today. It is clear that my dad has carried this quality of courage over into his own life and career. Over the past 25 years, he has always been brave enough to follow a vision of what education means to him. He knows what learning looks like, and wherever he has been, he has delivered on that vision. His successes as a coach, a professor, and an administrator are all built on the relationships he has cultivated with his students and his colleagues who have benefited from his vision of a holistic education. That vision has now led him here to Hastings College. I promise that if you trust him to deliver on his vision, your graduates will not only leave this institution with degrees, but they will leave as better people than when they entered. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Glenn Moss. I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees here, also an alum. So there's a lot of history already on the platform besides myself, and obviously Travis has history here as well through his family. So Dr. Travis Feezell, please join me at the front of the stage, and Delaney and Jackson, please also come up here to assist. Whoa. Dr. Feezell, my charge to you today is to serve Hastings College faithfully and in the Christian spirit on which this institution was founded. By the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I do hereby duly install you, Travis Feezell, as the 17th president of Hastings College, with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining. As a symbol of this office, I present you the Hastings College President's Medallion to wear with pride at official college functions. And I believe your two children will be doing this.
It's connected, so we'll do it this way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. You can put it back over.
For those of you that do not know, this medallion was designed and cast by Hastings College alum George Lundeen. And it's been passed down from president to president since probably the middle 70s.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're on.
Thank you, dear. I don't cry at weddings. Yes, I have to gather myself a little bit, okay? Thank you, Damon. This is an awesome moment for me, and a really profound and emotional moment. So thank you. I was sitting with a group of students last week, and I was sitting with them and talking about their first semester experiences, and I was reminded of one of my most dubious first-year college experiences. We were talking about our growth experiences as young persons, and those moments of deep failure and deep anxiety, how we dealt with those kinds of moments. My moment was actually as a first-year graduate student, as I was turning in my very first paper in graduate school. And this was at a British university, the University of Wales in Cardiff, and the paper was being turned in to my tutor. He was a rather stern Australian fellow. He'd sent me away the week before to read roughly 500 pages or so, and then said, "Come back, give me 5 to 7 pages, and then we'll talk." I think I was a pretty smart guy. Graduated with an honors degree, and I could write, right? I smugly handed him my paper and insinuated that perhaps he should try a little bit harder next time, that I was up to a more rigorous challenge. He beckoned me back the following week to review the paper, and my first observation was there seemed to be more of his writing on the paper rather than my writing. And the meticulousness of his review was utterly overwhelming. The second observation was that his words held the scant praise that I surely deserved. And to lapse into sport cliche, as I am wont to do, it was a beatdown, it was a blowout, it was a decisive loss, it was a hammering. My talent couldn't at all match his on the field of language and analysis. So after the anger subsided and clarity suggested that perhaps I was not as talented as my ego might want, there was this move to change and to grow. And I remember very clearly the next day going to the library and reading William Zinsser's On Writing Well in one sitting. I still have that book. I continue to read it every couple of years, and I've given it to others who struggled with their writing. That moment of struggle and of response, it changed me. Perhaps more to this present moment, I sit here in the middle generation of a line of Feezells that have been profoundly changed by education and by the personal contact of teacher and student, mother and a father. In the audience, both faculty members, both the first in their family to receive a formal higher education, and their lives powerfully different because of it. And then their 4 children, all of them here today, educated at residential places just like this, one at Hastings College, me the only one to attend a larger state school, but really having the intimate experience of an honors college and a major filled with brilliant teachers and mentors. Thank you, Susan Ehrenstein. You changed my life when we read The Name of the Rose. You remember that. So do I. And then my children, you've met them. One now graduated and into the world, the other a second-year student at Hastings College. All of these Feezell lives changed, powerfully changed, by higher education and the contact of professor and mentor and student. So these personal moments and these conversations with students and families and trustees and friends have been on my mind of late. It's really been a meta question that's been gnawing at me for the last year or two. What's the purpose of college? What's the importance of a place like Hastings College? And I keep coming back to those questions because I know that an education of this sort has changed my life, and I'm certain it is having some deep effect on my own children. I thought of it the other day as one of my students from a few years ago, Matt Spivey. He's not in the audience, but he calls me somewhat regularly. He showed up in my classroom about 8 years ago, and he was a complete 18-year-old knucklehead. He was a loudmouth, he was lazy, he was a punk, he was a lacrosse player. Let that last one sink in. But something in him called to me, and through the years, I called to him, or rather called him out, and said, "Look, Matt, you can be more, you can be better. There's so much more to you." Fast forward now to the present, and he's a very successful entrepreneur. He has a deep interest in sustainability. He has a master's degree from a university in England, and he's living a powerful life. No, my concern around this bigger question of the purpose of college and the place of Hastings has been with a national dialogue that continues to go something like this. College is too expensive. College is not accessible. We rank and value colleges on exclusion rather than inclusion, how many we turn away rather than how many we take in. We need more welders, not philosophers. Or the only thing you can do with an English major and a love of medieval literature is to become a barista or a college president. Student debt is the next housing bubble. Student debt is crushing the potential of young people. Colleges need to prove their worth by how many jobs they are producing. And all of this comes to me in the context of a more complex world, one that seems to demand more rather than less people adept at language, analysis, compassion, and a deeper understanding of our human spirit. The national dialogue around the value of college is surrounded by an ethos of the transactional when what it seems we need most in our craziness is the relational, more personal connection. Perhaps what I'm suggesting is that our world and our time is precisely at a moment which demands a college like Hastings. We are essential. So much of my thinking around this value question has been around notions of citizenship and a life well lived. That higher education now is learning how we might contribute to our individual good and move that to a greater good, to grow and develop our potentials in life. It's not that I have some animus towards technical skills, whether they be in accounting or scientific research or welding. These are necessary pieces of a craft, and indeed they're necessary pieces of a shared future. But my proclamation here is really that those technical skills are not enough, and that those technical skills may be desperately obsolete in the future. They're not enough to contribute. They're not enough to contribute to a shared vision of a successful community, a successful future. We need more. We need more deeply those abilities to think and discern and judge and value and love and influence and motivate. And I believe with every fiber that we do this the best at a place like Hastings, at small residential places, that we do this in our community by forming our relationships. Certainly our disciplines and our content, they give us the platform, but it's that context, that personal, that we, that gives it possibility. If we're to live into the lives of which all humans are worthy, if we're indeed to be the greatest society, then it is this education, this personal residential education, this Hastings education, which is utterly vital. So my plea here is even a bit deeper. It's also to ask, if this is the most vital, most vibrant form of education, then why can't it be accessible to more? Why are we creating education for the masses right now that is packaged as a credential without the personal touch and without the formational element? My instinct is this is more about cost and about the broken model of higher education finance. And in my mind, it's broken terribly. The most powerful form of education, this thing of which I am a champion, for which we are champions, by its very cost is only available to a few. And it's only going to get more painfully exclusive if we continue on this path of high ticket price, high discount, high merit to those who might already have privilege and access. We're destined to fail in that mode. Failing as an institution, failing perhaps as an industry, but ultimately failing as a citizenry. So here's always my call. And those that come to know me have come to know me better. I begin a lot of sentences with what if? What if? What if we could be new? What if we could be the entrepreneur? What if we could end up in the current model and create an access, an invitation that was powerfully different? What if we awarded aid to those who might persist and change the world? What if we changed what it really cost and were transparent with those costs? What if we stopped organizing ourselves around the traditional academic disciplines and instead started to organize ourselves around things like analysis and writing and rhetoric, passion, creativity, citizenship? What then? What would that really look like? I know. I tie myself in knots coming at this from both ends because I want to sustain and strengthen and am utterly grateful to be the leader of a Hastings College. It's our ability to affect and change lives in ways that are so beautiful, that we assist so many in becoming more than they thought that they could be. But I want us to consider perhaps our current method, this tried and true habit of higher education of which we are a part that needs deeper examination and change. Change comes slowly and painfully for sure, but I wonder if now is not the moment to envision this place, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but in 25 or 30 years, when I'm no longer president. When our junior faculty members of today are wise, gray-haired sages with endowed scholarships in your name. When the world has changed so dramatically in ways that we're not even aware of now, but that this place, this Hastings, this community has made such a deep impact on our region and in Nebraska that it makes jaws drop. What if? Wouldn't that be awesome? Sometimes my blind spot is to see too dramatically into the future, to wonder what will be different. Sometimes my strength is to see deeply into the future and wonder what must be different. What I think I know at this moment is twofold. One, future of higher education is changing and we cannot cling to old habit. We have to keep our core, that essence, but we must embrace what is to be. And two, this Hastings has the enormous possibility, its people, its traditions, its power to absolutely be that change, to lead our future, then patiently wait to see what occurs. We are that good. We are that personal. And we are absolutely that powerful. My last words, and here I'm going to get emotional again. How does one express the deep gratitude to so many who've put me here in this moment with a future that is so motivating? How do I show my gratitude and responsibility at being called to lead this amazing place at this time? And how does one thank parents, teachers, and mentors who honor me with their presence today? How do I tell my children how proud I am of them, of who they are and who they're about to become? And how does one tell a partner of 27 years, thank you? Those two words can't come close to imagining and covering the gratitude and emotion that I feel at her support, but the support of others today. I don't know how to say it more clearly. Maybe it's by noticing, and maybe it's by being direct, and maybe it begins by being personal. Thank you for this great honor.
Good afternoon. It is truly an honor to be with you all today on this special occasion. I've been so pleased to be able to work with Dr. Feezell in the short time that he's been on campus. As students, we all have the privilege of walking around this beautiful campus day in and day out. You'd think you'd get bored of it after a while, but something always keeps our attention. And yes, it may be some of the squirrels doing, but I'm talking more about the interactions we have with humans while on campus. Whether it's your best friend, an acquaintance, or a professor, it is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. I've said it more than once, and I'll say it again. You can't walk from point A to point B of this campus without seeing a familiar face, a friendly smile, or a simple hello. Why is this, you may ask? It's because here at Hastings College, we truly are a family. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is true. Once you cross that street, you aren't guaranteed the same kind of acceptance. But here you know for sure that you are loved and cared for by many. Hastings College has worked tirelessly to make this a goal. It is what makes students want to attend and ultimately what makes them want to stay at this institution. But this type of environment doesn't happen overnight. It is brought to us through faculty and staff, community members, through Dr. Feezell, and yes, even us students. Without even realizing it, we are helping cultivate a unique culture that you rarely find at other colleges and universities. So Dr. Feezell, my charge to you is this: to help maintain and enhance this culture that supports acceptance and growth. We as students come from a variety of backgrounds, which helps us to better understand the broader world. But sometimes we need pushed. We need pushed to help us understand things we've never experienced before. College is a time for us to learn about how we can make this world a better place, and Hastings College does it best. So with that in mind, I would like to thank you all for coming today to celebrate the 17th president of Hastings College, Dr. Travis Feezell. So go out, be bold, be kind, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bronco. If you'd all please rise and help us sing the alma mater.
Dear friends, again we sing in voices loud and strong to Hastings College, echoing once more our glorious song. To her white and crimson banner, to her spirit proud and free, to alma mater now we sing in loving loyalty. Hastings to thee.
Before we conclude today's ceremony with a benediction, I have a few announcements to share with you. Everyone is encouraged to stay for the reception around the Jackson Dinsdale Art Center. Additionally, at 7 p.m., we will celebrate a champagne toast for Dr. Feezell and his family, and then Mario Powell will share some amazing music with us on the patio of the JDAC. After I share the benediction, the platform party will recess down the center aisle and into the JDAC. Once the platform party has concluded their procession by entering the building, everyone is dismissed to start the reception and the celebration of a new chapter in the life of Hastings College. At this time, I would invite you to enter into a spirit of prayer. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, God of our heart and God of our mind, may this inauguration be a sacred time set aside to reflect on the past, be present in the moment, and celebrate a future of continued flourishing and growth. God, we give you thanks on this day. We give you thanks for this storied institution of Hastings College. We give you thanks for all the saints responsible for starting this college 135 years ago. We give you thanks for all the staff and faculty who have faithfully served this institution, dedicated to creating a community of learning and a community of love. We give you thanks for the trustees who have given their time, talents, and resources to help this institution thrive. We give you thanks for all the students who have walked on these grounds, for the contributions they have made in the classroom and for the contributions they have made in the world. We give you thanks for each of the presidents who have served through the years in the different ways that they have shaped this institution into what it is today. And we give you thanks for Dr. Travis Feezell and his family for their decision to come here and help to write the next chapter in the history of this special place. God, we ask that you make us aware of your presence in the days, weeks, and years to come. Continue to make Hastings College a place where students come to learn and grow into creative, curious, and caring people, equipped who will thrive as citizens of their local and global communities. Continue to guide the staff and faculty in their work of facilitating the learning, equipping, and mentoring of these students. Continue to be with the trustees as they help support the institution and help set the vision for the future. And be with Dr. Feezell as he begins to write this new chapter in the history of this place. May your teachings of radical love, of compassion, and of hospitality be a lamp to his feet and a light to his path, so that he may guide Hastings College with energy, intelligence, imagination, and love. As we draw this inauguration to a close, may we keep our focus on the call that you have placed on each of our lives, a call to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you. Surrounded by your great love, we ask all of this in your holy name. Amen.